COVID kind of affecting the possibility of NBA, I think it might affect, the preps schools at the prep level. And then you've got your college teams. I mean, you got guys that might say, hey, what am I doing this school thing for? If I'm only, my plan was to come for a year, I'm not even getting the college experience. I'm not, getting to, come to these games where I get the crowd screaming my name. I don't get to, come to class and get maybe treated with a little royalty on campus and all that good stuff. I'm not getting that experience that I kind of maybe wanted from school. And I'm only going to be here a year. I feel like there's going to be a lot more guys that are starting to make that jump to just going pro, playing overseas or trying to play in the G League. And so I think the G League kind of making that Ignite team, I think is going to be a huge thing to watch out for moving forwards, because a lot of guys, like I said, just going to probably start moving out of high school and just kind of just prepping and training themselves, because that G League Ignite team, now that they've been in the bubble, just like how you said, the NBA bubble's been just all basketball. Those guys, but you can't tell me they're not learning the game so much faster just playing against pros every day. You're around basketball all day. You're following a routine. You don't have to worry about classes. You don't have to worry about turning in papers, none of that stuff anymore. Because essentially, the experience of being that student athlete, I think, is starting to dwindle, because you don't get all that, interaction, I guess, and that experience that a lot of people signed up for, that, being a top, pick will get you in school. So I think things might change and move forwards.
Go ahead, Dan. You got this one. Well, let's go next.
I really don't have much to say to that. I'm about to say, Ben, you really just hit the nail on the head with everything you just said. I'm over here speechless. So I'm like, I really can't add anything to that. I will say, though, is that I do think now, more recent years, though, that more players are gravitating to the one and done situation. It's just because they feel that like they're going to be in the best shape possible, to where there's not going to be no career ending injury, which I've questioned a lot, just because I'm like, I mean, what if you get hurt and you can't play basketball anymore? Then what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, like training, the medical staff, all of that in recent years has really grown.
Yeah.
To where players can afford to actually do that. Because the college experience, yes, it's good to have like a fan base calling your name like every game and playing in March Madness and all this stuff. Like, it's absolutely great. But it's just because of the way the league is now. Um, like, maybe people are going to start coming out of high school, because I know that's a debate too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, coming straight out of high school, being able to come to the NBA, because they're in the prime of their lives athletically. But like I said, I don't have too much to add to that, Ron. I say you speak your mind on this one.
Man, you're right, bro. It's kind of crazy seeing it. We're kind of going through a cycle right now of like, it seems like leaning kind of towards back, going, allowing athletes to go from high school to the professional level. I think the one and done system became so popular because many scouts and like GMs, they kind of draft based off of potential. And it's like, a lot of athletes feel as though if I'm a junior and a senior or even a sophomore, I mean, you can even see it as you watch the game. People kind of start to poke holes at your weaknesses rather than focus on what you could potentially do or see themselves in the future. So I feel like that's kind of one of those that plays a factor into why many people do go one and done.
Yeah.
I have noticed also a trend to the NCAA we've seen is bringing back college football, and the state of California and some other universities are kind of allowing players to receive money for their likeness. So as you can see, the NCAA is kind of not contain, but keep the athletes or try to persuade these athletes to, hey, join the NCAA. These are some of the things we can do for you, which, I mean, many of us can agree, like, it's ridiculous that these athletes, the James Wiseman situation with Penny kind of helping his family, James Wiseman's family, like move in and get situated, that's nonsense for him to only play, 3 games, and this practically a season. So, like, they don't want to go through that. Like you said, Ben hit the nail the head on a lot of subjects, especially the Team Ignite. That's going to start a new wave. Like we'll see what that do, and who's to say that they don't create more Team Ignites? But
Right.
but I'm all for, you know what I'm saying, if you believe, if you can sign up for the Army or the military at 18, then you should by all means have the choice to put your name in the draft.
And I think the points that y'all made are just going to further influence guys to make that decision, especially, like I said, the way things are right now. Because as you being a top prospect, you go into college, you get maybe a little bit of perks of you going to that school, you know, maybe it'd be financial, whatever, but you do get a perk. Even if you're not getting anything financially, you like I said, you looked up as you're the man on campus. Like you said, you got thousands of people screaming your name every day. You know, the coaches, you know, the teachers, students recognize you every time you go on campus somewhere. You know, you might get a little preferential treatment here and there. Like, hey, man, you can come in front of me in line. Hey, man, you can come to this park, whatever. You know what I mean? You get a little bit of those perks being at school. Like I said, the way things are right now, a lot of these guys are not at school. So if that is going to be something that goes on in the future, if they're cutting all these games down, if you were when previously you was playing 35 games, now you're playing 15, 10, and like I said, now you're like you said, they starting to poke holes at every little thing that you're doing, and you got guys like you said now playing on your Dukes, on your some of your UNCs that aren't really playing too well. Your Kentucky, you're not playing too well right now. Is it worth it for me to go through literally just the being a student and then going to go play basketball versus I know right now while my name is hot, I can learn and focus on basketball all day and make this money. Is I feel like that's gonna be a decision that a lot of these guys are gonna have to make. And then like you mentioned, possibility of getting injured. So if you especially with the way things are right now, if you are a collegiate athlete and you mess around and get hurt, then what do you do? That versus I think the Ignite was signing guys for upwards of 500K and granting them a scholarship once a scholarship availability once they decided to ever pursue that. If that's going to be a thing that the Ignite is going to do, I think as an 18-year-old kid whose possibility being the top 10 in your graduating class, that's a tough offer to pass up on. Right? Well, very quickly, like you said, even if you go ahead and make that decision and you get hurt, you got guaranteed almost $1 million. And like I said, of course, you can get you some endorsements. You got a guarantee at 18 years old, almost $1 million ready for your name. Or go to class online. I mean, I don't know. I
have a question. I'm sorry, Daniel.
No. I was about to add a final thought on that one, but no, go ahead.
I'll just get to the bag. We can all agree to that. But I do have a question for both of you. I've heard also rumors saying that the league is kind of becoming watered down and the talent not necessarily as good, but I mean like the quality of the game isn't as good. As far as like
I got a lot I could say on that one.
Like you said, there are top 10 high schoolers who may be dominant within the high school, but you can even see from college, their game does not transition well for different levels.
Definitely.
So I'm like, I agree. If you're a Jalen Green who's freakish athletic, and you can even see like Jonathan Kuminga or a lot of these top athletes, you can do that. But I do see especially an AAU culture where your son's getting 20 or 30 shots a game. He's averaging 25 points at an EYBL. He won a Peach Jam or he competed. He's getting recruited by all these top schools within the country. Everyone's DMing him, bro. Great game. You got the blue check, you verified. But then like when he gets to a Michigan State with a Tom Izzo, who's on a hard coach, and he's like, you're not going to be shooting this many games. Like, it's definitely lots of politics within, college basketball or even professional basketball. It's like, I mean, things change, bro. I can tell you, we can all a bunch of top 20 recruits from various classes that did not pan out well,
Definitely.
who are
Mhm.
doing what we're doing, either working regular jobs or they're playing overseas, or you know what I'm saying, they're not in the NBA.
Mhm.
So I mean, what do you, I mean, everyone can make that jump. So like, I guess I should say the question is, what is your thoughts, or what do you guys have to say for those that saying, you know, all these young players are kind of like dwindling the quality of the game?
I'll say this. Yeah, like transitioning to the next level, no matter where you go, it's always going to be a big jump. Like I said, high school, like, was your kingdom. Like, you were able to eat, you were able to dominate, and you have all of these high expectations on you to be able to dominate at the next level. The whole thing I got to say is that you're putting a target on your head,
Mhm.
like every time you move up. Like people like Zion
Mhm.
dominated in high school, went to college, he did okay. They didn't win the NCAA championship, got to the NBA.
Mhm.
And yeah, he had a pretty strong rookie campaign. He didn't play most of it. Have you heard of him, much talk of him since then? Not really. Not really. So the whole thing is that when you're making the transition to the next level, and I'm not disrespecting Zion's game at all, so I don't need to be flamed in the comments. But I will say this though, just making the transition to the next level, no matter where it is. If you go to college, you go to the G League, you go to overseas, or even if you go to the NBA, you got to be ready for the big boys. I'm about to say, just like all the fans are watching you dominate, everybody at the next level is watching you as well. And they're just waiting for you to get there so they can go ahead and dominate you. Look at how Lonzo Ball started.
Mhm.
Then Patrick Beverly let him know very early that this is the big boys. You're not going to be doing what you did at UCLA and in high school. No, no, it's not that. So my thing is the players coming up have to be mentally ready. Like, yeah, you could say, I guess you could say the talent's kind of dwindled, but it's not even because they don't have the talent. It's just the mental capacity of making that adjustment to actually be able to perform up to par and show why they were given the opportunity. So I wouldn't say the talent necessarily has dwindled as in, oh yeah, we've got really bad talent coming up. No, we've had really good talent coming up. It's up to the coaches and it's up to the training staff to get these players ready mentally to handle that.